Welcome to Pound for Pound ATL, arguably the best place to get facts and opinions on your Atlanta Falcons. And absolutely the best place to get your opinions in. The guys are here, the chat is ready, and the conversation starts now.
What's going on, football fans? It's your boys back again with another live rendition of the Pound for Pound. Hey, and look, we all here. We all we all in the room, so to speak. I think it's probably one of the first times all off season we've been able to coordinate. But hey, that's the off season, right? But training camp is back. We are live and going, so to speak. The guys have started to report to training camp, and for the most part, it's been without incident, without big dramas, because right now this is the time where you get a lot of big drama popping up over the all over the league. Aaron Rodgers with his diva self, we might get into here in a little bit. I know that's Jimmy's other guy, but we might get into that here in a minute. But you got that popping off in Green Bay. You got Xavier Howard full on requesting trades out of Miami. So for the most part, it's been drama-free reporting. But, I guess we had our drama earlier in the offseason with the Jones stuff, and then when we found out what the Mingo things were. So that was the drama and the headlines that we didn't want. But, gentlemen, how are y'all doing?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Hey, Pound for Pound ATL, voluntary OTAs is over. It's now mandatory camp, and we all are in tonight. So I'm excited, man. What's up, fellas? Big Mike.
Hey, like I said, 2 words for me, man. Quieting disrespect. Quieting disrespect.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
Who is disrespecting Falcon right now? It's not who a lot of people talk about, but I got to talk about it. It's got to be Grady Jarrett.
Oh, yeah.
Madden. New Madden. They come out with the top 10 defensive tackles in the league. You mean to tell me Vita Vea is a better?
Yeah, right. Vita Vea, yeah. I saw that.
Grady, if I'm Grady Jarrett, first day, Dean Pease, I'm just rallying the guys, and that's all I'm saying. We're just going to start quieting disrespect.
That's it.
We've got to stop disrespecting some of these guys who put in work. I think Grady Jarrett getting disrespected is something that probably annoys me a little bit, because this is the team that I think that we just need to stay down. And JR, you started it off perfect. Mm-hmm. To me, at this point, no news is good news. Right. Jimbo Dean, what you?
It's your boy Jimbo Dean, a.k.a. Jimbo Slice, a.k.a. Jimmy Obama. You can call me any one of those you want. But please, you're not calling no damn New Orleans Saints fan. And one thing I want to say, going into this thing, I just pray that injury bug stay away from Flowery Branch. That's how I'm feeling about that situation. Go ahead with it, JR. I'm going to just leave it right there.
No, that's JR. A good place to leave it on, because right before we went live, I keep the Twitterverse open up on one of my screens so that, we can, keep abreast if anything, happens during the show. And right before we hit live, I see that they done placed, along with 5 or, we're up to 5 people on the COVID-19 list, with the biggest name being Dante Fowler got added to the COVID-19 list. They also added 3 names to the physically unable to perform list, which isn't necessarily the end of the world, but you don't want names on that list. And so obviously Matt Gano, we knew that one. Man shows up in training camp in a neck brace. You pretty much, I think it's been reported that it's something to do with a vertebrae or something like that. And so at this junction, we don't even know if Gano's going to play again,
oh, man.
So that's kind of scary to think about. But the other 2 names that popped up are old Mr. Milk Carton himself, Deidre Sanat. So that's twice I've seen his name in the offseason, and none of them are related to actually playing football. One was the team wishing him a happy birthday, and the other one, he getting put on the physically unable to perform. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He's going to find his way, I think, right out of Flowery Branch. But the bigger name, I guess you could say, or at least up to this point, the more important name, is Caleb McGarry. our starting right tackle, is found himself on the physically unable to perform list. Now I'm going to see if it will. I'm going to open up this article. Y'all go ahead and what's y'all's thoughts on McGarry being on the physically unable? I'm trying to see if they say why. No, it don't say why.
Toby, you going first, Toby? Because I'm going ahead.
Ain't nobody started.
The X starting right tackle.
Oh no! You done said the X starting right tackle. Oh, come on.
That speed rushing disease. They got to give him a vaccine because he can't stop speed rushing out the edge.
Oh no! They done looking for a speed rushing disease vaccine. Look at this.
You're funny.
In hot today. Okay.
No respect for
Toby,
the first round.
No, look, because I'm about to put my foot in my mouth, Jimbo Slice, so let me do it real quick. Josh Andrews, we need you to come through now, okay? We've been off the Josh Andrews train for a week or two. We need the Josh Andrews train to heat back up, right? Because Jalen Mayfield will play a lot of football. Win, lose, or draw, Jalen Mayfield will play a lot of football for these Atlanta Falcons. I can't say that enough. So, you know, man, that's not a good start, you know. I know Cameron Jordan likes the fact that Caleb McGarry is, starting off a little rough. So we got some work to do.
What you got, Jimmy?
Look here, look. I'm not selling off that man. Look here. I want to root for Caleb McGarry. This is what I want to do now, and it's in my heart too. Like my heart goes out to this young man because he got his struggles. Right. I'm just hoping they get better with the new regime. I'm just hoping. But boy, it so is a bad way to start off losing reps. You don't want to lose reps with a new regime, and that's going to be one of my narratives. New regimes, you don't want to lose reps.
That's it.
But I want to root for the kid, but boy, it ain't starting off good. I'm telling you.
Not at all.
I'm gonna go. Okay, well, you brought up Josh Andrews. Now, for all y'all that I put the question out there on Twitter, a couple weeks ago, who actually wanted to hear or see a video about essentially our offensive linemen, the scheme that we'll be running and stuff like that. I had enough response that I am putting in the research and going to have a video out probably this weekend, either Friday or Saturday, focusing on the scheme, the blocking scheme, focusing on, Dwayne Ledford, our offensive line coach, and focusing on some of the pieces, right? One of the pieces, obviously, is Josh Andrews. Now, in my free time, when I can, I try to get involved in as many Falcon fan chats as I can, just because I like to talk about the Falcons, right? And so I took it on a lot of word that Josh Andrews is just trash, and we don't want him starting. He's just trash. And I was like, okay, all right, well, these people watch as much football as I do, so if they, if they think he's trash, there must be something to it, right? So as I started, getting into my own research, as we do here on Pound for Pound, we don't just fly off at the hip. We actually, look into stuff, and we do our research, as Thomas Dimitroff was famous for saying. I got to look in. Josh Andrews has taken less than 400 snaps. So I'm gonna let that sink in for a second. It's like 370 something. He's played one full game. That was last year for the Jets against the LA Rams. So you know who LA has? Aaron Donald, Michael Brockers,
yes, sir.
Right? And he held his own in that game. He wasn't, don't get me wrong, man ain't out here pancaking Brockers and Donald. But
no.
He was holding up enough. And so I'm sitting there watching as many snaps as I could find because, of course, right now, Game Pass, they're in their preseason reboot, where everything's locked down. So I'm finding as many snaps as I can find, cut-ups of Jets games and stuff like that. And what I've seen of this guy is a guy who looked competent and looked solid. I will say this, before last year's outing in Carolina, how many of y'all would have been excited about signing Mike Davis? I would imagine not many of us. Okay?
Right.
Career backup, bounced around the league, hadn't really gotten a shot anywhere. Finally gets a shot, shows that he's productive, gets a new contract. Okay? And I'm thinking that it could be a similar situation with Josh Andrews. He hasn't necessarily, been given a shot in Green Bay. I mean, for a while there, Green Bay had a real good line. They didn't need the help.
Yeah.
So he didn't get much of a chance in Green Bay. So when he did get his chance, it was in the Jets, or, in New Jersey with the Jets. Unfortunately, it was with Adam Gase, who ran the most predictable offense last year. So that ain't helping nobody. That ain't helping quarterbacks, running backs, offensive line, nothing. When the defense knows what you're doing. But the snaps that I saw, I was encouraged. I came away going, okay, this guy doesn't look like a complete dumpster fire. Now,
absolutely.
We'll see going forward. He could end up being a dumpster fire. But I'm more willing to give him a chance than I was when we first signed him. So
let me ask you a question then. So
Sure.
Do you think that, the Dahlman Hennessy experiment might be coming to an end? We might move Hennessy over to left guard. And I guess I put the question over to Toby D, is if Hennessy does get moved over, could you still see Josh Andrews beating out of Hennessy, who has played, Hennessy was in the rotation last year, right? So I think the versatility we have right now is something, worth mentioning, because you're right. Like, I think if we lose a Caleb McGarry, right, for an extended period of time, in previous years, that sinks our line, right? But I'm like, all right, so Jalen Mayfield, versatility. He could play right tackle. He could play left guard. So many moving pieces. Almost like where do we start them?
So I will say this: two things that we got to understand that D-Led is looking for in his offensive lineman. Number one, get off. You got to be able to be faster to get off the snap of the ball before that pass rusher can get off snap of the ball and get to the quarterback. Because the least split second you wait, that's a sack.
Right.
And we've seen Caleb McGarry sacks to the speed rushers, especially within our division.
We lost Mike.
Number two, you got to have someone with that nasty.
Right.
And what I mean by the nasty is someone who can play through the whistle. You don't stop until that whistle tells you to stop. And even then, because we've seen it with Jalen Mayfield. We've seen a few videos of Jalen Mayfield pancaking somebody out of bounds.
Right.
He didn't stop until it was over. So those are two qualities that D-Led is going to look for. And I think Josh Andrews, from what I watched, possesses both of those. And this is why I think he will fit as well as he will. So you don't have to be the best, most talented offensive lineman, but if you can at least lock those two things down, it'll allow you to get set and set your feet to be able to block that guy in front of you. Number three, combination blocking. I've seen Josh Andrews be able to do combination blocks, and you're going to have to be able to do that because you're going to be playing not only zone offensive line scheme, you're going to be playing some man as well. And you got to be able to know how to combination block with the guy next to you. So I think Josh Andrews has a huge shot in becoming a left guard. I could be wrong. We'll see how camp goes, but
yeah,
we're definitely
gonna see how it plays out. But Mike, you were talking about Hennessy at left guard. I think it's Hennessy and Dahlman. I think is your battle at center, and whoever loses out there is going to be your backup center. I think it's really going to come down to, like, just yesterday or the day before, they signed Jason Spriggs, a former second-round offensive lineman who hasn't necessarily showed well yet, in the places that he's been. So, but, he got drafted in the second round, so he obviously has, some talent that caught somebody's eye. But we'll
absolutely.
Right now I feel like Spriggs could be, your swing tackle, probably, depending on what happens with McGarry. If this physically unable to perform thing like drags on, then, it might be, it might be a Spriggs Mayfield situation. Because in that research for that video, one thing I noticed about Mayfield is that dude's get off. His kick step is like, it's almost like he flies backwards, in his kick step. And that's, so it'll be interesting to see, who lines up where. because, right now it's really looking like, at least starting camp, it's looking like a, Matthews, Andrews, Hennessy, Lindstrom, and probably either Mayfield or Spriggs in that right tackle. Somebody in the comments says, Jordan Christopher in the comments says McGarry is anti-vax. That's why he's on the physically unable to perform. He isn't hurt. I don't think they're putting people who aren't taking the vaccine on physically unable to perform. I don't think that's no. I haven't seen anything that says that that's what they're doing with, physically unable to perform, or with people who aren't taking the vaccine. I think the people who aren't taking the vaccine are just having to have the same standards that they had last year. Taking a COVID test every day, wearing a mask, that kind of stuff. I don't.
But Gary would have an excuse as to why he can't take it.
Yeah, with his heart stuff. Yeah, he might be. Yeah, with his heart stuff, he might be more reluctant to take it, because I know, having the, information to how that's going to affect those kind of conditions isn't necessarily readily available as of yet. Well, that's our. Go ahead.
Well, and real quick, I think that's why I couldn't agree more. I think with that type of information, that Spriggs pickup is a lot more interesting. Now, we shouldn't overcomplicate the Spriggs pickup, because I do think at our best, he's our swing tackle. If he has to fundamentally start and play games for us, Matt Ryan kind of should have gotten traded. I'm just going to honestly go ahead and say it.
If we're having to tear down the O-line that far.
Because we tear down there, just let Matt Ryan go and go try to win somewhere else. You know what I mean? So that is something to watch, though. That's the battle. We definitely got to take a note of that one right there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, let's go ahead and jump into chat here. It's not super active tonight, but that's cool. We'll get to it anyway. Jaden Seffler says, "What's up, y'all? What's going on, Jaden? He done got him a new icon. What is TCB?
No way.
I don't know what TCB. I'm used to seeing the red and black Falcon for Jaden. So anyway, Wallace Smith says, "What's up, Pound for Pound family? What's going on, Wallace? Same thing with Kojak Nantucket. What's going on, Kojak?
Nantucket.
I'm glad you're in here, brother. Same thing with False Start Falcon. Let's get it. Yes, sir. That's what we're going to do.
Start.
Wound Carter says the original Four Horsemen are back together. That's right. Training camp coming together. We had to get, try to get synced up. Wallace Smith says the disrespect for the whole team is what he's saying. Well, I can understand in a sense from an outside looking in. If you ain't a fan, you don't posted 3 bad seasons in a row. Why would anybody want to give us respect? But that does not take away from the fact that Grady Jarrett should not be in a 4-way tie for 11 or whatever Madden tried to say. He's better than Vita Vea,
That's when the league is almost just kind of whatever they do is fine, right? And I just think, like I said, if you're a leader, you take that as a sign of disrespect. So if he's able to get Deion, excuse me, not even Grady Jarrett, Deion Jones. Deion Jones should see that as a sign of disrespect. He's one of the few elder statesmen left from the Super Bowl run. What are those 45 guys? What's their story?
Right.
What do they want to see for this team? Because they've seen all of that old stuff. Brotherhood is gone. So
that's it, brother.
What do they see that we're going to take, forward, basically? That's all I want to see.
That's right. Brotherhood is out the door. Now it's been replaced with accountability. Definitely seems like that's what it's being replaced with. LOL bit LOL says Hennessy is a good player, just got to let him develop. I think so. I mean, if you go back and watch his tape at Temple, like I did, he is technically sound. Watching him is like watching first word that came to mind was fluid. He just seems very natural at what he's doing, but I think he's better suited and better prepared to be a center. If he can't win out against Dahlman as a center, then I just want him as my backup center. That's kind of that's kind of where I'm at there. The experiment with him at guard early in the season last year didn't fill me with much confidence. He looked better when we put him at center the last, 3 I think it was the last 3 games of the season. I wanted to go back and watch them, but like I said, the Game Pass doing there.
But you know what? I'll say this. Against the Chiefs, I think that he showed up well. I think that was a pretty veteran defensive line that he played. And, again, I'll always say the Falcons almost won that game against Kansas City. And I think that he took his lumps. But I said, those are the games I think that will make Hennessy ready for this year. Because you're right, he's already technically sound. He just kind of needed to get, for all intents and purposes, busted in the mouth a little bit. And I think he's done that. And he seems like he's back for more and he's learned. See, a guy like that, it's the smart offensive lineman that I think we can start leaning, right? Because it's very Alex Mackish. Because here's the only reason why I say this, JR, right? The only reason why I think Hennessy might have a chance to slide over the guard is that, again, bold take. We have two Alex Mackish type centers right now. Dalman is a smart guy. You look at him, he don't make many mistakes. Dad was a Falcon. He's going to do everything. He is going to come ready to play, right? And I think what they might – you might have the same player twice, right? So I'm just saying I wouldn't – over or underset, even move a Dalman over the left guard, because two smart players that we really haven't had before. We haven't really had intelligent, before Alex Mack and Mud Duck, outside of that, we hadn't really had guys like this. So we'll be one to watch. Maybe I'm overselling it, but
it's one of the battles that I'm interested in as far as this camp gets going. A lot of the battles that I'm interested in are taking place on the offensive side of the ball. Like who cements themselves as the, number 2 wide receiver. Not receiving option, because I think that's going to be Kyle Pitts. But, and how does he come along? Like is he as good as advertised? Does that do him and Matt Ryan start clicking, quicker? Like I said, the battle at offensive line. Like, I want to know what 5 are going to be in front of Ryan. And know this, folks, I'm going to get into this, like I said, I'm going to get into this in this video I'm going to do. But it ain't going to be just them 5 out there very often. They're going to be helped with, tight ends, extra O-linemen. That's the way Arthur Smith gets down, in his scheme. So he's going, like the combinations of offensive linemen that he had last year in Tennessee make your head spin. And they was able to make it work and keep it rolling. Yeah. So I'm not supremely worried about the offensive line, especially with D-Led in as the offensive line coach. The more I read about him, like the more I've never been stoked about an offensive line coach before. You know what I'm saying? But Dwayne Ledford is a guy that I think, we might be lucky if we have him for 2 or 3 years, because he seems like he's moving on up. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. And I think, that's why, as much as we look at McGarry being out, this is where Arthur Smith, his name has to get brought up again. You got Ledford and then you got Arthur Smith. Those are 2 offensive line gurus, right? So I haven't seen anything at this point to not trust that they're going to put the best combination that's going to allow the running game to improve. Because you think about it, we put a lot of onus on the running game now. We're talking about the offensive line as a question mark. All of this running we plan on doing, right? So we definitely have to see the way it works itself out, because we plan on doing a lot of running and playing. So, hey.
It wouldn't surprise me one bit if they pulled like an Andy Levitre type trade, week into camp.
Right.
If they're not liking what they're seeing, especially with, whatever's going on with McGarry, the fact that Gano's out, if they feel like they need a more competent starter, you are floating with some extra picks, from the Julio deal. So, you may go out there and try to trade you for something. I'm not saying that they're going to, but that's always an option that's still out there. Let's see here. Marty Young says, speaking of trading, he said, would y'all trade the 4th we got for Julio for N'Keal Harry or Sony Michel from New England? I think it could fill some voids. I don't know if I'm giving up anything much of. I ain't giving up a 4th for N'Keal Harry or Sony Michel for that matter. Like, I like Sony Michel, but that knee injury, like the way it crops up with him, I'm not giving up a 4th for him. I don't know if y'all feel that way, and I'm definitely not giving up a 4th for a a failed first round wide receiver. You know.
I'm the 90 that we are going into camp with right now. I can honestly say this, and I'm being serious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm comfortable with it because this is a competition motivated 90-man roster.
Right.
So and like we said before we went on air, we need competition.
That's
and
right.
This 90-man roster is almost dead even. Mike just mentioned that we almost got 2 of the same linemen on the same offensive line. So we need that competition across the board. The 90-man roster that we got now, I'm not willing to give up no future picks with a new regime. They're gonna need all their picks going forward. If anything, they're gonna need some more. You see what I'm saying? So the 90 that we got now, I am comfortable with it. Now, if they make some more moves after camp, which they might do, it's possible, I'm okay with it too. But as of right now, getting up a 4 for a Sonny Michel, nah, and a N'Keal Harry, nah, I'm okay with that.
And Toby, tell me if you agree with this or not. A N'Keal Harry or a Sonny Michel isn't putting you over the top. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You know, so why would you give up any asset for them? You know, because look, we can, whether we all agree or disagree on this aspect or not, you know, we might, if we end up in the playoffs this year, it's going to be some luck in a sense, you know. So I think giving up assets to get more pieces right now isn't necessarily not those type of pieces. Like if you feel like you got to have an offensive lineman, maybe, but no, I'm not giving up a 4th for something of that nature. So
I just think you got to see what you have right now, I think that's what they are planning on doing. They waiting to get them pass on, see what they have with the pass rush. And with the offensive line, and then they'll make their decisions from there. I mean, if they think their guys can get it, I don't see them making moves until you get to probably preseason and really see what's going on, where you can actually hit people. And really, but you can see with the blocking that you're going to be able to see in the pass rush, you know, in the trenches, what you got right there early on, because they don't have to really hit anybody.
Right.
Good point.
No,
that's
that's point. Exactly. All right, let's see. We're going to keep right on moving here. Wallace Smith says, y'all think Spriggs that bad because he did play with the Bears under Ragone as the play caller. I mean, Ragone is probably the reason why you have familiarity there. You know, that was probably his end, why he got the call. Like, you know, from what little bit I've read on Spriggs, it just says that he hasn't been able to, like, supplant anybody in the places that he's been. So, like, he's still young, though. So, like, he's still only, like, 27, I think. He's, like, 26 or 27. So, you know, he could still, you know, get it together and make a showing of it. He wouldn't be the first. So, it'll be interesting to see. Let's see. Elo Bit says Pitts probably has a decent year, but struggle with drops and physicality. I'll be interested to see how he deals with the NFL physicality. I know he played in the vaunted SEC, so y'all ain't got to go down that rabbit hole there. I understand. He played in the gauntlet. I get it. You know, apparently the only conference that matters. Now am I going down some kind of? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Let me stop you right there.
Go ahead.
Tell you something. We'll have a great year, but you know what I do get a little bit nervous about? We might as well get it out there before he, you know, puts on shoulder pads. Kyle Pitts was having a great year last year until he met Louis Seam, the free safety from the University of Georgia. And when they collided, his season stopped for a couple weeks. You know what I mean? So I'm not here to say that Kyle Pitts is going to sit here and set the world on fire, because I know the type of game that he plays is very physical. You know, he's going to have a target on him. But I do think that the one thing I like about Kyle Pitts is that it seems like he just knows, he just got that ability to just get open, man. Like, regardless of all the hype, and he know, you know, the free safeties and the linebackers and everybody trying to shout at this guy every game. The one thing he will not lose the ability to do is get open. And then Matt Ryan will find the open man. So I look for Kyle Pitts to not just have a regular year. I just look for him to go ahead and have an above average year up front, because he knows what's expected of him. And again, Kyle Pitts made a quarterback like Kyle Trask a second rounder, because without Kyle Pitts, Trask is a 7th rounder.
Yeah, look, no, you right about that. I watched that bowl game that Pitts didn't play in because I was thinking that I was going to get to watch Pitts play, and yeah, you could definitely tell Trask was like, "Where's my guy?"
Indeed.
So, all right, what's up, Tommy?
So let me say this, guy. I think too many people, especially fans, are making too much out of this physicality thing. I'm gonna say number one, Kyle Pitts is getting paid to play football full time. He's not eating noodles and going to class anymore. This man is very smart. He is an intelligent film studier. Okay, this is what he does. Now that he gets to do this full time, I'm not concerned about physicality. Number two, technique. Good technique. Guess what? You can't be beat. And since now he's getting paid to play football full time and he's a film studier, and now he can really harness in and focus on his technique. I'm not worrying about no Cameron Jordan.
Right.
He talks about everybody we draft, so that don't even bother me.
Oh yeah,
and this man is gonna get smart.
Yeah, he's gonna get. I'm gonna laugh if you know Pitts puts a good shoulder into him and knocks him off his block the first time around. But anyway, so we march on. The chat marches on, so we're gonna keep on rocking. Nick asked Chandler Jones or Justin Houston to ATL. Can we afford both or either one of them? We can afford Justin Houston because he's not on a team. Like, now Chandler Jones, not only do you going to have to give up picks for him, he's going to want a new contract. And I'm going to go ahead and roll in Xavier Howard too. Like I saw, as soon as he put his little "I want to be traded" tweet out there or Instagram post out there, everybody's like, Atlanta, you know what you got to do. I'm sitting there going, how are you going to do that? Like, the amount of cap shuffling you would have to do to get Xavier Howard on this roster would be insane.
Oh boy. And I see a secondary guy come available. You know I get super excited.
Of course.
But before I got super excited, I went and looked at that money. And I said, I ain't even finna post nothing about that because I ain't nothing I'm finna get out of that. I ain't getting nothing out of that.
Right.
But feeling good and hopeful thoughts.
I mean, look, if they could figure it out, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Kudos to them if they can figure that out.
Right. But I'm
Got it. Look. And look, let's just put it out there, man. Let's kill it. Terry Fontenot, he did all the voodoo doctor stuff back in February.
Right.
Ain't no voodoo. All it's done. Like, if you're looking for it, magic, not going to happen. Who else we talked about? Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones.
Would love it. Would be franchise altering. Not going to happen. One, Chandler Jones he's going to go to what he sees right now as a competitor, as somebody that is a Super Bowl contender. True enough, we're going to get what we get out of these Falcons. So, Justin Houston, still out there. That's A. Vernon, still out there, right? So I think that might be what we need. But listen, the one thing that I'm most excited about that we have not mentioned yet, if y'all hear these players, they interviewing, and the first guy that they said that they love, Dean Pease. Let's let Dean Pease work. Dean Pease is comfortable with these 90. Big Jimbo comfortable with these 90. So we're gonna roll with these 90.
No, you're right about that. You speaking about these interviews that come in. What about our boy Mikael Walker coming in about 15 pounds heavier, looking just ripped, looking like he's ready to so he got him up to about 240 something, 243, 244. That's sounding like real close to some edge numbers right there. Which y'all know, I mean, he did that quite a bit in college. He rushed, my brain just locked up completely. He rushed, played linebacker, played safety. I mean, he was a very versatile player. So I'm really interested to see what Dean Pease does with this linebacking core, because now, I wouldn't even think it'd be much of a stretch to say our linebackers are going to have more pressures, which y'all know pressures is hits, hurries, and sacks. I bet you money right now that our linebackers are going to have more pressures than any other group. I
can bet on that too.
Yeah. Now, it'd be interesting. Well, JR, you might be Or, do you count Dante Fowler as a linebacker? I guess he's listed as a linebacker, so maybe. But when I say linebacker, I'm talking about Deion Jones, Foye Oluokun, Michael Walker, Brandon Copeland. Those guys I feel like are going to be leading the charge as far as harassing and, making nightmares for the quarterback. I don't know. Y'all with me on that one?
So let's go ahead and put it down. I'm going to set the tone for y'all boys, and then we're going to go ahead and go down there. Because, Michael Walker is my boy. Jimbo got his boys in the secondary. Michael Walker, Mike Dub. Michael Walker.
I'm just going to put that on Mike Dub. Mike Dub. I got you.
Okay, so those 15 pounds, that edge rush that we've been looking for. The more I hear about Dante Fowler being Dante Fowler, the more I want to see what Michael Walker is going to do. Because, listen, we know he got coverage skills like a safety. We know that. The one thing I like about Michael Walker that always said that to me, when he hits somebody, they stop. That's what you want out of a linebacker. When he puts his hands on you, the play stops, right? So you mean to tell me that guy with safety coverage skills, yoked up a little bit, Dean Pease asked him to do that. That's a Dean Pease. That's an ask of Dean Pease. Okay, Michael Walker, I seen you. Okay, you flashed as a rookie. You look good. But you know what he also said? Give me 15 more and I can make you great. Because that's what Michael Walker said himself. Dean Pease said that Dean Pease takes good players and make them great. So he already want to be great. All I'm going to say is we're looking for the pass rush. We got the overpaid guy. That guy's already full. We don't know what we're going to get out of that guy on the other side on the pass rush. But Michael Walker will be rushing the quarterback more. Not only the linebacker hall as a core, I look for it to be led by Michael Walker because Deion Jones is a better coverage guy. Deion Jones is good rushing the quarterback, but we had to do that out of necessity. We want Deion Jones covering, getting his hands on them balls, running pick six, being one of the greatest linebackers to ever get the ball in his hands and score a touchdown.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you dead right on that. I feel like
talk about Michael Walker, I almost freeze, and I'm like, yeah, anybody else got anything? Listen.
Nah,
one guy.
Hold on. Dante Fowler Jr., y'all better get on this train. Okay, leave him alone, man. Y'all leave him alone. Okay, this is my guy.
That's your guy. Oh, Lord. We got battle of the guys going
good.
on.
I have an off-season gut feeling about Dante Fowler Jr., as Mike referred to as the other linebacker you won't know it, the high-paid guy, whatever. I'm feeling this guy. I think this guy's going to come back and he's going to show up and he's going to show out. He got motivation now. And then, DPs, we all don't say it now. We know he can take good players, make them great. But you already got a guy that has shown in that field of today that he can be great. Now he just needs somebody to get in his ear, and he needs to stay off that injury list. And if he can do that, I think he's going to show us something this year, man. I really do believe that. All jokes aside, I'm really rooting for this kid this year. I really am.
No,
and if he do, oh, man, we're going to be ahead of the game if he do.
Yeah, I think straight up and down, like
Dante Fowler, man, listen. Off the milk carton, this is milk carton activity, though. I don't want to Jimbo like JR. I talked to my boy Jimbo Slice.
Oh, yeah.
Jimbo Slice, this is milk carton activity starting off camp like this. To me, as a guy that's a pay cut. Now, again, you can control what you control. I don't want to go into the X's and O's, but
I know that.
Again, these reps are important. And, again, man, Copeland looks like a smart guy, man. You know what I mean? He seems like a guy that, the Falcons gave him the mic too, and he looked like he was working pretty hard too. So, and he's played in the league. Belichick is coach's guy. He comes from a disciplined team. So, again, that's why, put a friendly $2 wager on who comes.
No, and I get it. But at the same time, we do our research over here before we spew out stuff. But at the same time, we are fans. So we got, because I'm a huge Christian Blake guy, my guy too. But when I feel like,
CB13.
I feel like this guy's about it. CB13, there you go, Jay. I appreciate it, love it. I just feel like he's gonna show up this year.
Yeah,
I don't know why. But Toby, what? Give me something, Toby.
Break this tie, Toby.
I'm not a believer.
Oh no.
Hey.
Listen, y'all know my guy is JTM. That's my dude. That's who I'm riding in on the train with. Now, him and Dante Fowler can get some sack numbers up and they can be a good duo, which I don't think is going to be heavily relied on two guys to get these sacks. I think this linebacker group, like JR said, I really believe that there's going to be a lot of emphasis put on these guys to trick this offensive lines and test their rules and get to the quarterback this year.
I think I think
that's what I'm excited.
If you want to call a sack leader, I think, and y'all going to shake your head when I say it, but I think your sack leader is going to be Dean Pease. And what I mean by that is I think the sacks are going to come from, the simulated pressures, that creeper style defense, that I think the scheme is what's going to produce what has been lacking for the last, 5 or so years. We've been running the same scheme over and over again that, people aren't fooled by it anymore. Well, like I said, now I think, we have a coach who is shown to be able to do it no matter where he is, regardless of the type of talent that he has, right? He has made a lot of defensive players a lot of money. Okay? And so I think if you want to say who's going to be your sack leader, I think it's safe to say that Dean Pease is going to be your sack leader, because he's going to be, making some guys make it look real good. So
JR,
sir,
so you mean to tell me it's 4'3", 6'5", 260-pound defensive man? It's a 71-year-old guy.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be
it's a 71-year-old Mad Hatter. That's going to be your defensive MVP this year.
There you go.
From what I've studied, and y'all can go back, if you feel like, and watch the video I did on the 4.25. Go back and watch the video that me and Toby did about the creepers and the simulated pressures. I think the scheme is going to produce more than the talent. Like you have coaches that need talent to succeed, and then you have coaches that can succeed regardless. I think we've had the past 5 years, we've had coaches that needed talent to succeed. Now I'm hoping that we have a coaching staff that can succeed even if they don't necessarily have talent, but once they get the talent, it's even better. You see what I'm saying?
That's what we want. That's what we want too.
That's what I feel like where we're at right now.
That's what we want.
That's what this time is all about. How fast can Arthur Smith and his staff that he's put together get to know these guys and what they can do and what they can't? Because you hear coaches preach it, they talk about it, but they can't actually do it.
Yep,
I mean, Dan Quinn preached it.
Oh yeah, for years. Every year, every offseason, you heard, "Oh, we're gonna put guys in the best, place to succeed,"
right.
But they didn't. They didn't produce. So we're gonna see.
You know what? And you know what? I go back, and that's why I go back. Honestly, Jimbo and I, we talk about Dante Fowler, and we kind of joke about it. We argue for and against, but he's absolutely right that Dante Fowler actually, with Dean Pease, if he's dialed in and focused, and in an incentive late in year, he is a guy I do think can get us 8 to 11 sacks.
Yeah, we're gonna see
because we've seen it on. Because again, man, Dante Fowler doesn't have a problem being nasty, right? Like that's just his game.
Look,
he's a nasty guy. He got to the quarterback a lot. He had 8 to 9 quarterback pressures, meaning he almost got there a lot. But again, that split millisecond, that comes to coaching. Coaching is that split millisecond. If that works in our favor, look out. Honestly.
Right. And that's the thing. Like we joke and kid about Dante Fowler, but like what you talked about just a second ago, last year he had 8 QB hits, he had 4 tackles for loss, he had 12 solo tackles, and and 3 sacks. I mean, that shows a guy who at least is being active. Okay. And then this was also dealing with, being, having an injury, being hurt.
Ankle
stuff, right, exactly. Ankle injury. So, I'm willing to give, Dante Fowler, obviously this year, for sure. And I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, we chuckle and make jokes, but in all seriousness, I'm with Jimmy. I want to see him succeed. Because I was excited when he came out of college. I was, excited when I saw him in L.A. playing with Aaron Donald. So, like, I'm thinking that's a guy who's got it in him. It just needs a good situation, and I think we might finally have one. Let's jump back into chat here for a minute. Let's see, where did we leave off at? All right. Fred Butts, what's up, Fred? Says the media all of a sudden doesn't think Arthur Smith is a good coach because he's in Atlanta. Now that DQ's in Dallas, he's a great coach. Bottom line, if you're with the Falcons, you're disrespected. There is like some kind of weird media bias. I don't know if it's because of Ted Turner and what he was doing back in the day or what the deal is.
Yeah.
But there is some definite like media dislike here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Pantera 1959 says only draft picks can be given for good DE if the team pays the salary. Oh, okay. I'm talking a proven 10-sack guy. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I ain't giving up picks, not right now, because ain't none of those guys gonna put you over the top. And so,
No.
I would rather roll with what we got and also try to build towards the future.
That's what I want to do.
Right.
Yep.
J.R. Mays says running back is what I'm looking for. I see Hawkins making an impact all over, special teams, pass game, and get any type of touches out of the backfield. Got to use his dog. Yeah, Hawkins is a guy that I'm intrigued by. Olesen is a guy who I'm excited about. Like, that's my guy, I guess you could say.
So it's in reverse for me. Sorry to cut you off, JR. It's in reverse for me. Because I'm genuinely excited about Javian Hawkins, because the more I look at mismatches, right? This is a league of matchups, right? And I'll be honest with you, for as much as we talk about the Bucs, which we don't have to, Michael Thomas is out for almost to November, right? Saints have a quarterback better. The Panthers, who knows what kind of team they're going to field with Sam Darnold, right?
Right.
Again, that's where I start to look at this team and I say, we still have Matt Ryan, right? We still are led at the top by a veteran, right? That's why I still think that this is a team, position by position, that once the dust settles on the offensive line, going back to Javian Hawkins, I think that'll do nothing but well for him. Because if a guy like Jalen Mayfield, because I want to see him come on the field. If I'm honest, I really want McGarry to come back. I want Mayfield to be our left guard because that get off, I think breathes well for Javian Hawkins. Javian Hawkins is a guy that if you give him a crease, almost like an Anton Smith, like that type of guy. We hadn't had that element in a while. Those are the things that I think will stretch drives, get us play. Like, again, he's a guy that we could put in the slot. Again, I'm excited about him. Olesen, really got to see. The offensive line being in flux is not good for Olesen. I'll say that,
Well, what makes me excited about Olsen, and we'll see if Jimmy or Toby agree or not, is I think he's going to finally get a fair shake. I think the signing of one Todd Gurley last year put a cork on Olesen. You paid Todd Gurley so much money, you had to use him, and it never did work out, as far as because you got to think Olesen's rookie year, he had scored 4 touchdowns. He was your short yardage goal line back. Then you sign Gurley, who could do the same stuff, and so that took the limited role away from Olesen and didn't give him a chance to really blossom. So, knowing what we do know about, Arthur Smith, he seems to be a power kind of guy. And what I mean by that is, like, for a while there, his formula in Tennessee was Derrick Henry and Deontay Foreman. Both bigger statured running backs. So I'm really thinking that, like, Olesen, I really look for him to cement himself as the number 2 back, throughout camp. So, Jimmy, Toby, what are y'all's thoughts and feelings there?
Go ahead, Toby.
I think 84 is going to be in a lot of them guys' way.
I know a lot of people. I gotta disagree with you on that.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you. But I'm here to tell you, I think that Cordero Patterson, and I've heard a lot of other podcasters bring this name up too because they believe the same thing. So give credit what credit is due because I didn't get to beat him to the punch on this. But I think Cordero Patterson is going to be a bigger weapon than a lot of people realize. And Arthur Smith is hoping that defenses and defensive coordinators don't think about this guy as much because I truly believe this guy's going to get a lot more snaps at that running back spot than a lot of people think because of that versatility that he brings with catching out of the backfield and lining up, especially in them 5 wides that I talked about, 5 wide offense. You're going to be able to do so much with this guy in a 2 tight end set with him out there. And I'm just saying.
No, I get you on and I completely agree as far as the versatility and as far as, but I guess I see him more as a gadget type player. What I mean by like that, like 10, 15, or like not even 15, like 5, 10 snaps a game, right? But I don't see him as being a true number 2 back. Like, part of the problem I have there is like, can he pass block? And what I mean, you know what I'm saying? So like, if you get him out there, right, and he's lined up next to Matt Ryan, if he ain't pass blocking, that's tipping your hand to what you're doing, right? Because like if he ain't gonna sit in there and take, you know, Cameron Jordan or whoever, you know, maybe not Cameron Jordan, but you know, the second tier rusher of the team, if he's not gonna stand in that pocket and take that dude full in the face, like a running back does, you know, then he becomes, like I said, he becomes a tipping point. He becomes a liability in a sense. That when you have him out there, they're gonna know, okay, well, like he ain't staying in, so we ain't got to worry about him. Now we can send an extra rusher. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
yeah, and
that's like until I see it. I guess this will be the guy that I say, until I see it, my brain will not let me put him in RB2 slot. I do.
Yeah,
like,
and I feel what you're saying.
I agree with Mike in a sense. Like, I feel like he's that Anton Smith kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like, because you'd get Anton Smith out there, throw that little wheel route, and he's gone, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I see Cordero Patterson being used. I do agree with you 100%. Like, you're going to have plays, and if they don't, it's going to be disappointing. You're going to have plays where he comes out standing right beside Matt Ryan and then gets flexed out to the slot or flexed out to the, you know, wide position. You know, and if they don't do that, that'll be doing a disservice.
And see, what you just said just proved my point. Because you're thinking exactly how a defensive coordinator is going to be thinking. But see, this guy's 6'2", almost 240 pounds, and got speed. Yeah. He's going to stand in there and see exactly what you said is what they're going to be thinking. And if they try to test him, he's going to knock somebody's block off.
He's going to have to.
And see, the one thing you got to know about Cordero Patterson, you watch this guy, he's a very physical runner, even with kickoff return.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, and this is one of the reasons why you put him in there. When you got defenders and go sell that linebacker, let's test him and see where he at, and he going to knock somebody's block off. And then that's going to be the first time they're going to say, okay, we can't do that. We can't just rush him.
That up, he's going to have to. Yeah.
So let me just say something right now.
What's up?
What that tells me is this conversation, which is gold, by the way, first of all.
Yeah.
Because
Pound
family going and giving great insight to y'all right now. So that was a great thing. But let me tell you something. That kind of reminds me that Quadre Olison does have a spot on this team.
Yeah.
Because pass is the kicker. Because I'm going to tell you, like, we get to Cordero Patterson and Javian Hawkins having to pass block for Matt Ryan, we are in trouble. To me, I think that is also where Quadre Olison carves a role for this team. So I went from probably being this high on Quadre Olison to like, hey, really need you a little bit, Quadre Olison, because you're right, he does have the size. I didn't realize that Cordero Patterson was 6'2", 240. Only knock I got on Cordero Patterson, he got to return a lot of kicks. You don't know what you can get from this guy. When you return kicks, it's kind of nervous. You don't really want a guy to go pass block for you after he's run a kick return for 60 yards. You know what I mean? Don't really look at Cordero Patterson as a kick, you know, as one of the guys we want to depend on for pass rushing. I say pass block, excuse me. At his best, Cordero Patterson is a poor man's Ty Montgomery. And I do think that if you see the way Ty Montgomery was used for Aaron Rodgers as just that dump down guy, make it happen, we needed that too. Because sometimes we just need a guy that can make one guy miss and make something happen. We have not had a lot of Atlanta Falcons that can make the first guy miss. This is a guy that's made a living with it. So, man, this is just good conversation. And I think that Mike Davis is going to be Mike Davis. But after that,
yeah, I think,
man,
look, I think Mike Davis is, you know, unless something happens, like he's RB1, right? Like unless for some odd reason Quadre Olison just comes in and just absolutely blows everybody's doors off, you brought Mike Davis in here to be RB1. So I'm not even questioning that, right? But, you know, RB2 to me is Quadre Olison's job to lose. Like, I think you're going to have plenty of plays with you know, Toby over here shaking his head at me. Which, you know, it's good. That's what you want. That's what you want.
Y'all going at it, man.
Yeah, but no, it's like...
Hey, man, listen, man. I feel you.
But see, like, it's not just, you know, for Cordell Patterson, it's the kick return game. You know, it's the, you know, split out wide game. You know, Cordell Patterson brings versatility, like, in a way that not many other people do on this roster. Right. And you're going to want to find ways to use them. Like, I almost, like, want to just label Patterson as, like, Weapon X. Like, in a sense. And in that aspect, like, he can't be counted on as RB2. You see what I'm, that's kind of like the point I made. Like, you may come at me in week 3 and be like, look, I told you, per snap, Patterson's got more runs than Olison. Or, you know, more snaps than Olison. And then I'm probably going to fire back and be like, well, how many times did he split out wide? You know, or how many times did he line up in a slot? You know, because that's not something you do with an RB2. You do that with an offensive weapon, and I think he can be useful for us, and I think his versatility will be useful. I just, you know,
listen. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh no, we paid him too much money not to be.
And I was just about to say that you don't pay a guy $3 million just to keep returning.
That's it.
You got this. You got Arthur Smith. I feel Arthur Smith has a special plan for this guy. Why he wanted him here, and he's hoping that everyone is thinking the same thing that you're thinking right now. Because as soon as they sleep on Cordell Patterson, them 5-10 snaps is going to turn into a 100-yard rushing game. Because you don't have to have 25 snaps to be
you're right about that. Right, you're right about that.
Efficient at it and call the plays at the right time for him to pop off on somebody. Because, see, he will carry 3-4 guys with him. I watched this guy snaps when he was with Chicago in the limited runs he had. You try to hit this guy, he's coming at you with that big body.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
No, shoot. Hey, look, this is one of those things where I'll be all right if I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like if we sitting here at week 5 or 6 and you bring up, see, told you, I'm like, you know what? You're right. You know, so I'll be wrong there, but
that's the thing. That's the thing. No, that's the thing. Hearing this whole conversation from y'all, and y'all all got beautiful points. That is a great sign of a new regime and competition.
That's right.
Just by everything y'all said, that's what we want right there, baby.
Right. And you know, Wallace Smith
I'm wrong. I'm
look, it's all good. That's the point. Wallace Smith just
and guess what? I'm sorry, before we even go into the comments, somebody is right here. That's what makes football
we're
fun.
Somebody's right.
Somebody's right. Somebody's right.
Straight.
Somebody's right. We ain't got enough. Look, we ain't got enough talent on the roster for it not to be. You know, Wallace Smith brought up a point. He says Ragone had Fontenot go get Patterson for a reason. He got that tie there with Dave Ragone.
That's a good point.
Like he saw it, like dead up. There was something about, you know, Patterson that Ragone liked, and you know wanted him on this staff. We have bumped up over an hour, so I want to hit. We haven't spent much time in the chat, so I want to catch some more of these comments. Let's see. Here we go. We're going to get into Blizz818 says Pitts caught 10 touchdown passes. Caught 10 touchdown passes first day out. I'm not exactly sure what you mean there. I don't think he's going to have 10 touchdowns in his first game, but maybe in the season. I don't know. We'll see. Chris Jameson says, anyone know if Walker got his number change approved? No, I haven't seen as of yet. I know he was posting it on his Instagram for friends and family not to buy his jersey because he was trying to get it changed. He's probably trying to get it changed to 3. I think that's what he wore in college. And also, now granted, I know it's a Chance the Rapper thing, but he had that number 3 hat on in the interviews. So I think I didn't notice. I see these things. I'm hip. I pay attention. I can't name a Chance the Rapper song, but I'm hip. No, I'm just kidding.
You a smart guy.
You doubt, JR. You doubt.
Anyway, Fred Buzz thinks the Falcons will be a top 5 defense. That's going to be a tall task right there. I mean, look, if they get it, I think they'll be. I'm looking for an average, like to come up to, 17, 16, 15. That middle of the that would be a nice jump if they were to.
And that's a decent improvement right there.
That would be a nice jump, right? Let's see. Bliss says, I'm tired of seeing the bend but don't break. D, aggressive. D gives up big plays if caught off guard. Top 15, hopefully. Let's see. King says, hey, how is Sanat on the physically unable to perform list? A dude didn't even play last year. Come on, King. How you gotta do him like that?
Man, King a fool, ain't he?
He said he didn't even play last year. Then Chris Jameson followed it up and said, Sanat better get his resume ready. Yeah. Like I was telling the guys, I noticed on his Twitter handle, it said he's a construction worker. I know he's like meaning like Bill, but yeah, he goes.
So he needs to update. No. What he need to do is he need to start getting his LinkedIn together. See, football require LinkedIn. He need to get his LinkedIn together. Put construction work on LinkedIn.
That's right.
And start hiring construction work because pass rush work.
That's it.
Anyway, keep going.
Jamil Riggins and Tony Wright come in late. Said, "What's up, fellas? What's going on, guys? Glad y'all are here."
Tony.
And let's see, Ghost Pepper says Gano on the physically unable on the PUP list. Surprising given that his surgery this offseason. Yeah, isn't a surprise. You're right there. But Sanat and McGarry, he says, pound for pound, I'm starting to believe that Sanat is just a fake person. He says that AB is collecting checks on. Oh, no. That's bad.
They're using Sanat to launder money.
Right.
It's a Ponzi scheme.
It's a Ponzi scheme. Oh no! Look at you, he's an offshore company. Deidre Sanat.
The Sanat book.
Jordan Yates says, I'm driving down from Tennessee to watch the boys on Saturday. Anything I should be looking for in particular, like who's getting the most safety reps and so forth. First of all, Jordan Yates, you should be looking for me. I'm gonna be out there on Saturday. What's up?
That's right.
But no, as far as I'm definitely interested in the safety rotations. Who's out there first? Is Richie Grant running with Devon Harmon, or is it Eric Harris, or what have you? I'm really interested in how that safety rolls out. Then also the offensive line, obviously. Something we spent a lot of time on earlier in the show is talking about the offensive line, but and also like wide receiver. That's something we haven't spent a ton of time on. Like we automatically just assume Gage steps up, but does Frank Darby start to separate himself? Is he more than just a smiling face like Jimmy over there?
But I'm waiting for you to say somebody else's name.
Oh! You talking about CB13? I mean, I just figured he's cemented, right? He's already got his gold jacket waiting on him, right? So
let him say his name.
Yeah. Oh, he's over here getting so excited he's knocking his camera over.
I am CB13 for president.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't talk enough about this guy because I know he's about to talk about his guy. Let me just throw my guy in there real quick to Jay Sharp.
Yeah.
Do not forget about this guy, 6'4", 105. We running a lot. He's a guy on the play action that's going to be wide open. He's a guy I guarantee you will have a couple of 30 to 40-yard catches that we don't talk enough about.
Right.
In a good, competent system with a not even as good a quarterback in Kirk Cousins, he played really well for the Vikings because teams didn't key in on him. I think Calvin Ridley will be Calvin Ridley. Russell Gage, all right. Kyle Pitts. Then you got this guy to Jay Sharp, 6'4", 195. Will be a matchup problem. We catch one of those weeks where we got one of those 5'8", 5'9", 5'10" DBs with poor technique. Jay Sharp will eat on one of those guys because, again, that's going to be another Arthur Smith guy. So let's just file him away, you know. Make sure you talk about, you know, that Jay Sharp, I think he's going to turn a lot of heads this year.
Yep. Yeah, like the wide receiver core is interesting. How does it shake out? You know, like how are like some of the things that I'm going to be looking for is like, how are the linebackers getting used? Like, Jerron Wade just says, a lot of people say, saying that we have a top 5 linebacker core. Like, it's possible, you know? I definitely think linebackers are a strength of our team.
I do too, Jay.
You know,
Boy, Aluakon is so good. We haven't mentioned his name once on this show. You know why? Because he does exactly what he's supposed to do, place that he needs to be, and it ain't really a lot to talk about. You know what you get with Foye.
Yeah, exactly. Like you know, Foye and Dion does you know, does Michael Walker take a next step in the sense of playing beside Foye in the middle and letting Dion, you know, roam a little bit? Like I spent a good bit of time talking about that money backer position. Well, that money backer position can be anybody. You know, Dion covers like a safety. You know, he and so like he's got that versatility. So it's gonna be interesting to see like how all that, you know, like pans out. You know, there's a lot of versatile guys. What you shaking your head over here, Tony?
It's exciting.
I'm getting fired up, man.
Yeah, I'm excited, man.
You know, just thinking about just our team getting back on the field again. You know, win or lose, man.
That's good stuff.
I'm so excited about this team.
That's what
and what they can do, man. And what they can do.
This is the part of the, you know, this is the part of the year that I get real excited because the potential's still there. You know, we're still team building and stuff like that. And that's the part that gets me, you know, really excited. Like who ends up as, you know, your CB2, you know, is it Fabian Moreau? You know, there's so many like questions that we need answered, you know, and that's part of what I'm super excited to. Like I said, I'm going to be there. I keep saying it, you know, but I'm going to be there on Saturday, and these are the things that I'm looking for. Same thing with like taking what you see on Saturday and then going forward to the, you know, open practice at Mercedes-Benz, which they had the schedule up here a second. I'm going to see if I can quickly scroll down and find it. Yeah. The Mercedes-Benz is the last open to the public practice that they're going to have up here, right?
Yep.
So, like, what's the difference between this, like, how's it look between this week and next week? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This Saturday and next Saturday. So, yeah, man, it's an exciting, you know, super exciting times. And then, like, flowing that into, you know, the preseason, first preseason games here at home against the Titans. So, you know, we'll get to see how does Arthur Smith call these games. You know,
that's right.
Like who is getting reps and stuff like that. Adam Holloway just joined us. He said, "We talk about this O-line yet?" Yes, Adam, we've been talking about this O-line.
Oh yeah, man, you missed it.
And look, and also like tune in on probably Saturday, maybe Friday, depending on how quick I am on the uptake. But you know, tune in. I'm gonna have in-depth look at the O-line for you there, Adam.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
I'm being a smart aleck in that sense because you know, one of them Twitter space chats. We spent a good bit of time, you know, talking about the O-line, and I was the one taking the stance of, in a sense, defending Josh Andrews, because after I realized, as I said earlier, like how much playing time this guy hasn't had, and we're over here killing him. I didn't, you know, didn't think so. Adam wants to do a live feed on Saturday. I don't think they'd like me live feeding from the top of the hill at Flowery Branch. We're here live. No, they probably seek me out.
It's too hot right now, Adam. Like, listen, right now it's too hot in live feed. Right, don't want to see us.
Oh yeah, you see my big self up there sweating? I'm over here.
I want to tell everybody, y'all see. If y'all see JR out there, y'all go take a picture with him and post it. Every time you see him, take a picture with him. Find him, y'all.
Oh man.
He will,
What's up? Say again, Mike.
no, I said JR will be there. Find him.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
Find
gonna be
him.
there. I'm gonna be there Saturday for sure. And then, like I said, I think me, Mike, and Toby will be there on the 7th, so y'all can find us there at the Benz for sure. Tony Wright just commented. He said, Mike, do you think that Mike Davis will get 1,200 yards rushing this season? But the wild card in our run game will be Hawkins, which you brought up earlier. So I wanted to see what you thought. Like, what do you think his production going to be? We're going to take a few more. We're going to run this one a little long, but you know.
Oh yeah, let's go ahead.
Hey man, we got camp tomorrow. Let's run this thing a little long.
Man.
That's a fantastic question. First of all, fantastic question. Let me tell you why. Mike Davis is a guy that loved. I've not seen a guy, and again, if Toby was right here, he'd take his hand and he'd pop me right in my face right now. Because Vic Beasley was an Atlanta guy, and he loved his Atlanta Falcons. But let me tell you something. This guy, Mike Davis, loved. We're going to get whatever Mike Davis got. And I'm going to tell you something. At Mike Davis's best, he's a 12 to 1,400 yard NFL running back. Quads, body type, closest to Michael Turner that we've had in a long time.
Right.
Let's put it out there. Wants to play for this team. This is his dream team. Arthur Smith, D-Led. Not D-Led, Orlando Ledbetter, but Ledford, our guy. Again, running game, offensive line gurus, guys that prioritize the offensive line, similar to the way the car salesman we had used to prioritize the defense. To me, that's you know what? Offensive line is one of our biggest weaknesses. But offensive line is actually one of the areas where I feel the most confident about because it's the 1% better every day we always talk about in this coaching. Mike Davis will, again, may not be much over 1,200, be at least a 1,250-yard rusher this year because of the scheme, because of the coaching, because of the positions, because Cordell Patterson will be that disruptor that JR and Toby D can talk so eloquently about because we don't know what we got. But to your point, that $3 million that we invested in Cordell Patterson is why I feel like we're going to find other ways to be creative. Because you know what? There are going to be some games where the running game is not going to get it done for us.
Mm-hmm.
Cordell Patterson against that linebacker is what's going to get it done for us. You know, right. Davian Hawkins in that mismatch situation done for us.
Yep.
New ways. Again, what we need to get comfortable with, pound for pound family, Falcons Nation, is we will find new ways to score points. And you know what? Especially in the red zone, if that helps us get from 28th in the league to at least 12th in the league, 15th in the league, then that's what we're doing this for.
Right,
so,
right.
Great question.
Right. Now, Adam just said, so we thinking Ogundeji gets some burn now that Fowler is on the COVID list, which does bring up an interesting point. Like some other guys are going to get some opportunities with Fowler, being on the shelf for at least a week. I think he has to be.
Yeah.
So and he's talking about like is this probably the end of Sanat? It's got to be the end of Sanat, right? I mean, come on.
Oh boy.
Like Sanat was probably ended anyway, right? And then his last comment says, one thing I'll say is Arthur Smith has been through this song and dance with the offensive tackles being hurt. Exactly. I brought that up earlier with the amount of combinations that he had up there in Tennessee. So he's comfortable with Arthur being able to adjust to the injuries. And same thing with I'm even more comfortable with Ledford as well. Like seeing what he was able to do. Like Ledford is, the coach behind not behind, but who coached up Becton and Bradbury. Like these guys are, solid NFL offensive linemen, and Ledford has coached these guys. So, he makes me a lot more comfortable with the offensive line situation. It reminds me of who was the offensive line coach that we had for a real short period of time? Mike Tice. You know how Tice made he was able to make like something out of nothing. That's what Ledford, kind of reminds me of in that aspect, or at least what I've read. Obviously, he ain't been in the league. He's been a college coach. Like, he played in the league and he coached in NFL Europe, but he hasn't coached in the league that I can remember. So he's been a college guy. So sometimes that transition from college to pros is a little different, but I think it'd probably be a little easier for position coaches. That's just my opinion there. I could be way off base, as I have never tried to coach anybody. So, but all right. Well, I think that pretty much, like, the comments have slow rolled. Oh, I was going to say this. Chris Jameson made a joke. He said, JR would be easier to find than Sanat. That is true.
Oh, man.
I will be easier to find than Deidre. We're about the same size. Like, he's a little bit more muscular than I am. But yes, I will be much easier to find.
Not much, JR. Much, JR.
Oh, Sanat.
All right, last comment here. Tony Rice says, Toby, the Matt Ryan, Arthur Smith combination will shake up the NFL and put the league on notice. Do you think that we will be a top 5 offense because of them?
Yes, I do.
Ah, there it is. All
Yes,
right.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
What? Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to be. Now, I don't know if it'll happen this year, depending on how quickly they get clicking. But I do think that they're going to be a good offense. And Adam, I'm going to tell you, man, you just going to have to go back and watch the show, because all your points that you're bringing up, we done covered. We done covered the 15 extra pounds of Michael Walker. Our own Mike Dub done covered that one. So yeah, you a little late there.
Yeah.
Box on Twitter, because I know you got a lot to talk about right now, and I need, as a matter of fact, hit my inbox. I definitely want to hear what you think about these 2021 Atlanta Falcons, because it seems like you're chomping at the bit. But also hit the rewind button.
That's right.
Check us out, because we've been on fire all show.
It's been a good show. It's actually been a really good show. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, because we done pushed it about an hour and 20. So, gentlemen. Y'all, as always, y'all can find me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128, GRIMM1128. Jimmy?
You can catch me on Twitter at Jimmy Obama, JIMMYOBAMA. Toby?
Toby D 1991.
Mike?
Hey, Mike.
MIKE_DUB. Love. And again, you know what? Not to end it on a somber note, one of my friends lost a good friend this week. You know, big Falcons fan. We're going to hold it down for you, bro.
That's right. We'll shout out to him.
Until next time, man, you know, like you said.
That's it.
Rise up.
That's
Especially my homeboy, that's a big Falcons fan. And again, y'all, off-season is over. Hope y'all enjoyed all of our off-season stuff.
That's it.
But hey, it's here now. Now let's get ready.
Speaking of the off-season stuff, catch the Ask Jimbo. He had a special guest on this week. Catch that one if you ain't already caught it. It was a good show. And like I said, check me out Saturday. I'll be roaming around Flowery Branch. If you see me, say what's up. And as always, Falcons fans, rise up.
Rise up.